8 games in and already 15 points off Liverpool, who they play next. We talked before the game, Gary, about short-term pain for long-term gain, but how low could Manchester United get?
Well, it depends. I think away from home, they're not set up to win. In the sense that the mentality, I think they let games drift. I think they play okay in games. I think Graeme said it at half-time, they've been okay. And you watch many games away from home, but they're not ruthless, they're not clinical. All they said, it was composure and a little bit of quality in the final part. But their mentality and the quality is not right. I mean, the depth of the squad's not good enough. And they have taken a step back. You know, losing Fellaini, they'd be better off with Fellaini up front today, with Lukaku up front, with Sanchez up front, there's no doubt. They've ended the game there with 6 young players on the pitch. So they would be better with those players on the pitch, Herrera. But they've made a decision that those players are not going to get the club where they need to be in the long term, that some of them don't want to be at the club, some of them have had the chance, some of them don't fit the style, and they're gone. There's probably another 3 or 4 that need to go as well, maybe more. But the club need to get the players in the transfer market. The recruitment's been bad now and woeful for many years, and they've been all over the place in terms of different styles of managers bringing in different players. They now need to fix a style, fix a way of recruiting, and go and get the players. They got 3 in the summer of the right type. You know, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka and James have done okay so far, but they need another 5 or 6. They need another centre-back, they need a right-back, they need 2 central midfield players, they need a wide player, and they need a top centre-forward. They need 5 or 6 top players into that squad, and they're going to cost a lot of money, those players. Hopefully they can be supplemented by the young players who will come through. There is some talent in those players, but I wouldn't judge those young players at the moment, and I wouldn't blame those young players, because what they need at the moment is the ability to be able to grow organically rather than being the answer. And at the moment, they're not the answer. They've been thrown in. People talk about us getting thrown in as kids, but we had world-class players alongside us to help us and support us. And at times, Sir Alex would take us out of the team to be able to give us a break. Rashford looks like he needs taking out of the team like you wouldn't believe at the moment. But he can't take him out of the team because there's no one to bring in. So that's the problem, that it is going to be painful, this. And the board are going to need to hold their nerve. And
but why do they need to hold their nerve, Gary? Could there be a theory here, just a theory, that he might not be the right man?
Because they've cocked this up over many years.
But what if Ollie is not the right man to put them back on track?
They've cocked it up. They've cocked it up. They're responsible for this. Poor recruitment, poor selection of, well, managers and then going with them and then pulling off them. Van Gaal won an FA Cup, then they sacked him. Jose Mourinho, they sacked him after 2.5 years when they'd given him a contract 6 months before. So they've pulled off managers in terms of what would be the sort of thread of it, and they've gone for completely different styles of managers in Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. They've now gone with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who's taken the club in a completely different direction again. If you change direction as a board every 2 years and you invest 250 million quid along the way in each manager, you're going to have big problems. And Manchester United are basically now getting the pain that they deserve for poor decisions at board level. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to make sure that the clean-up job that he's doing, which he needs to be done at this football club for the mess that's gone before him, he needs to make sure that he's somebody that actually gets the opportunity to spend that 250, 300 million that the others have had to spend, so that he can have an opportunity. Because there's things out there that I like. There were things that I liked under Jose Mourinho as well. I didn't want Jose Mourinho to be sacked, but there were things I liked out there today.
What did you like?
I liked Tuanzebe and Maguire. I think there's the bones of a good partnership there. I think with Wan-Bissaka at right back, Tuanzebe and Maguire, they need a left back, but I actually like that. The goalkeeper, we hope, can come back to his best as a United fan. McTominay, is he a world-class midfield player? No. But there's something about him that I like in terms of his spirit. But put 5 or 6 players of real quality in there. You know, if Manchester United recruit well in this next 3 or 4 transfer windows, they've got the bones of something. If they recruit badly, they'll end up suffering. They need to recruit well.
Graeme, do you think there's any point changing the direction of travel at this moment?
Well, I'm not sure what Gary means by change of direction. You know, you get a new manager. It's not as if they've said to Ollie, there's a shed load of cash, let's go off in a different direction. I find it really hard.
They have changed direction, Graeme.
Well, in what sense?
Well, in what sense?
How are they playing differently?
For about 3 or 4 years, Graeme, the transfer strategy of signing the likes of Falcao, Di Maria, Schweinsteiger, Ibrahimovic, Matic, older players who, to be fair, were more seasoned and sort of were ready to win at that moment, supposedly. You know, it's complete change of direction this summer. They've got rid of a lot of those players. They're what would be ready-made players. Sanchez is another one.
So you're saying the change of direction is we signed James, we're untried at this level, Wan-Bissaka, who can't, and Maguire, who
It's a
can
change
play.
of direction.
They're still spending big money on players, maybe not as much as the previous managers.
Graeme, how much have they spent?
I just find it hard when you start to look at the decisions they made at the start of the season, where you're going to start the season without a prolific goal scorer. You've got Martial, who depends what side of the bed he gets out on whether you're going to get a player or not. There is a player in there, but he hides it very well. You got Rashford, who is a shadow of the player that was introduced a couple of years ago, and it's all too much for him. You mentioned young players need to come in and out, rest, have a look, and it's not. We're not talking about the physical pressures. We're talking about the mental pressures of being asked. He's being asked as a 21-year-old boy, and he was last year as well, to be the main man in Man United's strike force. He's not a prolific goal scorer at this level. So they sell Lukaku, and where are the goals going to come from? And when you're not scoring goals, they were okay today, Man United. They had 69% of the ball. They had 3 saves the goalkeeper had to make for Newcastle. Goals win you games, goals give people a lift, goals take the pressure off you. That's where Man United are right now. Yeah, they're okay. But I come back to it's Man United. It's Man United, one of the biggest football clubs in the world. And where they are now to where they've been for until the last 4 years, 25 years prior to that, they are a world away from where.
Is that what's got them into this mess, though,
I'll tell you
Graham?
where they are.
Spending big because they think they're Manchester United.
But that's football decisions. I come back. Look, sorry, you go to say it because I could talk all night about it.
I'll tell you where they are. They're where Man United, where I was when I signed for Liverpool in '91. Where they won everything in that era. I signed and they've not won a league since 30 years. Now, if I'd have said in 30 years Liverpool aren't going to win another title, you put me in a straitjacket because you don't believe that can happen. But it can so easily happen. Everything can change. The recruitment, there's no leadership. When I look at Manchester United right now, it's all the mistakes that Liverpool made in the 90s, early 2000s, trying to change manager, chasing different patterns, looking at how we can make things right. The leader of the team, I personally believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a very lucky man to be managing Man United. You shouldn't go from Mulder to Cardiff to Man United manager. I'm sorry, that shouldn't be the transition. You need a real manager doing it. You need someone like a Klopp or a Guardiola. But
not many of those around, Jamie.
There aren't, and that's what I'm saying. So if you get rid of him now...
Jamie, they've just had 2.
I know, but if they get rid of him now, where do you go? This is my argument.
They just had 2.
I think Jose Mourinho was never going to be right for Manchester United.
Jose Mourinho, when he came to Manchester United, had won wherever he'd been, and he didn't win at Manchester United. Manchester United...
He won the Europa League.
No, what I mean is he didn't win the league. He didn't win the league at Man. Jose Mourinho doesn't come to football clubs to win Europa Leagues, Graham. He comes to win championships.
But Man United have been built having managers for 20 years, like with Ferguson. I know it's never going to happen. The game has changed so much. But Jose comes in 2 or 3 years and has cycles like that. But I look at this United team now, and I had to ask, who's the club captain? Who's the captain in Man United now? It's Ashley Young. Yeah, but I'm just saying, but that's not...
Can we go back to investment in this summer? Manchester United spent, I think, 40 or 50 million. But they basically they got 75 million for Lukaku. So net spend for the club is 75 million. They got Smalling, Herrera, Fellaini and Sanchez off the wage bill, part of his wage off the, and Lukaku's wage off the wage bill. That's probably 25-30 million a year. They probably saved another 25-30 million on top of the 70. They probably invested about 40 million quid this year, Manchester United's board, in the squad. I think part of that was because they didn't want to make too many mistakes like they had done previously and they couldn't get the players they wanted. But that isn't going to be enough to correct what's gone on before. They need a net spend of probably 150-200
So is that the new direction you're talking about?
No, Graham, the club has recruited so badly. Every time you recruit badly, you pay for it. The club has paid for it.
What are you saying? The people are making the decisions are not right. I mean, I come back to Ollie. If I'm a manager of Man United at the end of the season and Lukaku makes it plain he wants to leave, which I think was fairly evident, you've got to get someone in to replace him. Ollie's allowed Lukaku to go and not replace them.
But
now, the
Graham,
people upstairs might have been, happy days.
Right.
He said you'd rather bite the bullet and wait for the right one rather than get the wrong one.
There's a lot of pain to go through if that's how it is.
When I say recruitment's been bad, some of the players that have been signed have been good players. So Lukaku's a good player. I think he's a good maybe a top Premier League striker. But if his character's not right and he doesn't want to be at Manchester United, then it's a bad signing. You've not done your homework in terms of does he want to be at the club in the long term. And that's the problem they've got. They've got a lot of players, I think, who are good enough to play for the club. Who, just to be fair, Sanchez, Lukaku. Questions always about Paul Pogba, whether he wants to be at the club. There are other players at the club who you think, does he really want to be in Manchester?